Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of The Journey. Now, as usual, I am very excited about this episode and this guest. I hope that you soak up a lot of the information that he gives just because he's been able to create his own business, his own community, and really impact a lot of people. Now, our guest today is Marcus Hodges. He's the owner of Separation Team and has a gym sitting in Raleigh, North Carolina. However, he's been able to reach people all over the world. He's built a social media following of 182,000 followers on Instagram, 222.2 thousand followers on TikTok, and 29.5 thousand followers on YouTube. Not only that, he also constantly travels to different places across the globe, Israel, Mexico, and he does different training camps for the kids out there. So I'm really excited for all that he has to say today, and I hope you guys enjoy.
All right, let's get into it. So, first of all, thank you for joining me today, Marcus. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So first, we're gonna start off with a very, very easy question.
Okay.
Who is your favorite person to train? Now, if you need help thinking, should start with an R, end with Avon Douglas.
I would probably say Raven Douglas, probably one of my favorite people to train. She attends NCA&T. So, yeah, she's top two. She's not two.
Wow. Thank you. Very sweet. Okay, now get right into it. So, if you Google the name Marcus Hodges, first thing that comes up is internet personality. And there's also a picture of you staring like this. But yeah. So, is that what you consider yourself to be, internet personality? And if not, like, what or who do you want people to know Marcus Hodges to be?
That's a really good question. I want people to know that Marcus Hodges is a guy that can inspire you to do whatever you want to do and in life. And I'm doing that through the game of basketball. That's what I really want people to get out of my message, whether I'm training somebody or if they happen to see me on social media, that I'm a basketball trainer, but I'm really inspiring you to just believe in whatever you want to and go get it as possible.
I love that. So now you shared before that your journey started at a young age, and that you noticed early on that you are an observant player, and you didn't really have your own trainer, but ended up having to train yourself. Now, can you kind of talk about like what that looked like? Did you create your own drills? Is that when you started to want to like inspire people to believe in yourself or and believe in themselves? What did that look like for you?
I mean, where it all looked like I'll take you from like kind of the very, very beginning. Like I had a pretty bad injury basketball wise my senior year in college.
Mm,
It kind of pushed me like, if basketball doesn't work out for me, what am I going to do? You know, like I love the game of basketball. It made me really realize like there are a lot of doors in the game of basketball, not just actually playing. Right. So I kind of saw that, I guess, maybe at a young age, like 21. And I was a guy that kind of I tried to test some of those doors. So fast forward a little bit, I started to train a little bit, and then I really noticed how I was inspiring people. I'm saying that humbly, was just kids would watch me work out. So as I was still aspiring to be a professional basketball player, there were certain kids at the YMCA that would literally sit down and watch me work out like every day after school.
mm,
A group of like 4 or 5 guys, and then one guy finally was confident enough saying like, "Hey, can I work out with you?" And
mm.
that turned into a relationship. And then before you know it, like his friends that used to watch me now would join me. And then I found myself like really looking forward to it because it was my second workout of the day. So I was really looking forward to the afternoon. Hey, I can't wait for these young boys to get off, out of school. I'm gonna put these guys, I'll go look at some stuff on YouTube. I didn't know what I was doing, I was just random stuff, but like
Yeah.
found myself like getting, I wouldn't say as excited like on a game day, but I was finding myself like getting excited. Like I can't wait to get with my guys at 3:30 today and put them through some stuff. So that's where I kind of to notice like it's bigger than basketball, and I can kind of inspire. But still, at that point, I wasn't noticing everything what my real purpose was yet.
So would you say, or what would you say was really the factor that really kind of drew them into watching you train?
Um, I guess just like how hard I was going without like anybody pushing me. I would say like me like self policing myself. Um, because I've heard that a couple times in college, just like I'll be in the gym by myself, and you hear people kind of talking, good or bad. Like, I can't believe like he's here again. Like, no one's here by him. Like, he's by himself all the time. And it was like, I mean, my why is a little different. I'm a little shorter. I'm not even close to the average height of a basketball player. Like, I have to go beyond and above to even get noticed. So like, I kind of took some of those traits with me wherever I went. If it was playing basketball or if it was training myself, and then eventually, training other players, I knew I had to be different in certain ways.
So, and you just touched on, you said that like you didn't really, you were able to experience this stuff, but you didn't really fully realize the potential or the purpose. So when did you start to really see that? When did that really turn the corner for you?
I would say social media was a huge factor. Like when like 2016, 2017, when I guess I started getting some buzz on social media, when I started getting a lot of views, I started to notice that I had a big fan base, you know?
Mhm.
So then it was like, and you hear it all the time from like your favorite players, like, I just don't want to be known as a basketball player. And I didn't
Mhm.
quite know what I was, but I was like, I don't want to be just known from basketball. Like, yes, I do want to be known from basketball, but I need to have like some message. I need to have a purpose. If the only thing you know me for is dribbling a basketball, then I haven't done my job. So I would say like 2016, 2017, when I started getting a lot of views and some notoriety on social media, when it was starting to, kind of really kick off on Instagram. And that's when things like started to pick up, and I needed to present myself, not just basketball wise, but delivering some type of message.
So can you, like, speaking on the social media aspect, like building such a huge platform on different social medias doesn't just happen overnight. So can you just talk about what it takes, like the build up, the startup, what kind of went into that?
Yeah, it was really just like I do anything. Like my grandpa was like, if you're gonna do something, then finish the job, right? So like on social media, it was. I'll take you through a little story. So when I first started training, let's say I had a deal where like with the gym, I would pay a discounted rate, but I would pay in advance,
Mm,
right? Raven could show up, or Raven could get busy, and she doesn't show up. Let's say if you're my only client, that means Tuesday from 6 to 7, I got a gym by myself. I can cry about it. Or at that point, I was like, hey, somebody was in the gym with me. Hey, just record me doing some moves. Yeah.
mm,
Then it became like, then, I might get 8 likes. I'm like, ooh, let me try to get 10 by next week. So before you know it, I'm posting every day. And like that kind of like obsessive trait that I have, like I'm just like doing it every day. Like, what happens if I post like twice a day? And ooh, I
wow.
post at 10 a.m. every single day. Like that's the time. That's the prime time for me. And then like, and you kind of enter the business world. You talk to certain people, and they're like, "Yeah, that's called marketing. You're doing a really good job." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, okay." And then somebody gave me an example, like like McDonald's, like you kind of see them everywhere. Like you you like it or you don't like it, but you know about it. He was like,
Mhm.
kind of like doing that. Like you're kind of always in people's face, where some people like you, some people don't, but you always want people to know who you are. And I thought that message kind of stuck with me. So once again, it was a negative situation. Nobody would show up to train with me, whether it may be, and I could cry about it, or I could say, hey, I have the court by myself where I can record. There's no basketballs being dribbled. This looks real professional now. So now I'm sitting like that, and all it takes is a couple likes to, I hate to say it, to maybe motivate you a little bit. And whether it's
Mhm.
mom, your dad, and your sister, it motivated me and became a couple hundred and thousands, and then I started just posting every single day.
Yeah. So it seems like a lot of this journey, especially transitioning into like the business side, it seems like it was more of okay, you learning as you go along and trying different things and then learning, okay, this is the response. So this is how I'm gonna continue to adjust to that. Were there any like mentors or anybody that you kind of looked up to kind of in the later stages as you started developing the business?
Yeah, I think there were a lot of mentors. There's a guy named Andrew Moran. His Instagram link is Miami Hoop School. He's down in Miami. There's a guy named DJ Sackman out in New York. He's a little everywhere now, but out of New York. Um, a guy named Anthony Porter. So these guys in the training world were like mentors to me, just mainly because it was somebody I could pick the phone up and vent to, or just like ask questions, whether they knew 100% the answer or didn't. But they played a huge role in like every step of my growth, the training and like the business, just because one of the guys, Andrew Moran, he started his own gym like 5 years ago. So I
Mm.
just would think he's 5 years ahead of me gym wise. You know what I'm saying? Not training wise, but like having a bigger headache than just worrying about Raven. Now I got to worry about a roof. I got to worry about the floor being clean. The small things that people don't think about. So
Right.
I would ask questions ask questions to a lot, kind of going into building and all that stuff. So I had a couple mentors.
I love that. And so now that you have turned it into a successful business and really growing, like what really is your vision as you just continue to progress? What types of things are you learning right now that you want to continue to grow as in the future?
I'm learning a lot right now, right? I'm learning that like I have a 10,000 square foot facility in Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm learning that it's not easy, not
Hmm.
at all. It's very very hard, but it's like that complicated that you want to figure out. It's like that team that's beating you 2 years in a row, and it's like you're not running from them. You're like, I kind of want to figure out like how to beat them. You know what I mean? That's like my mindset. So it's like training, like any almost a lot of good jobs. You have your good months and you have your bad months. So I'm like, okay, if I have X amount of bad months, how can I turn this into a good month? First, I need to understand why is it a bad month? What can I do differently? What can the company do differently? And just kind of figuring that out. And I think that's like the fun parts with certain things. It's the journey. It's like I want to figure out what can make this better. And some of those answers are like, you're a college player, you're a high Division I basketball player, but it's like I need to get back to the younger players. And that's like
Hmm.
now I have 10,000 square feet. It's a lot of gym, it's a lot of court. But what happens when Raven leaves over their season? What happens when high school is in season? What happens when middle school is in season? Right? We have to have this facility that has to be able to provide a service for, I believe, like the younger kids. So like what we're now is we're kind of checking all the boxes, meaning like, when you're 6 or 7, you have kids like, do I like basketball? I don't know. Hey, we'll come to our gym and let's figure that out. Hey, we
Nice.
like, is there a place to play? Hey, well, we have a league where you get to figure out if you like basketball. We have a league to compete, and then we have a place where you can also train. So it's like a one-stop shop where you don't have to figure out, hey, where am I going? Like everything is here in house in this facility. So that's like the next big step that we're making right now, just being able to like impact the younger players and really being able to learn from y'all. So like watching college players, how y'all talk, how y'all work out, all the little things. But like I tell my trainers, like really listen to what they're saying because we have to deliver the kind of that same message to the
Mhm.
from the 8 to 12 13-year old. So just kind of understanding all that. So like I said, it's bigger than just the basketball. It's like about the message and how people are moving these days.
Yeah, I love that. So when you are thinking of players to bring in, especially on the older side, when it comes to like either high school, even middle school or college age, is there anything specific that you look for in that player before bringing them into the space?
Um, is there anything I look for? Just like a passion for the game. Like, we have different ways to market. So either you might personally know me, it might be, you might bring a teammate. So I'm just
Mhm.
trying to see like if you brought a teammate here, let's say, the off season, is she does she really want to work? Is she like a good person? I'll ask questions. I usually don't get too comfortable joking, laughing too much until maybe third or fourth session, but it kind of depends what type of day I'm having as well. Some days I'm just up having a good time, and some of those days are like when I'm in the gym forever. I'm like, hey, let's
Mhm.
before we get started, and then have the days where I'm like a little more serious. And so there's nothing in particular I'm looking at your age, but like younger, it's just like focus. Just like let's just focus. Like this isn't cheap. Like this isn't most of the time it's not free unless you're doing some like free event. So somebody's worked hard to put you in a situation. So I want to make sure I do my job, but let's make sure you do your job as well. So just make sure they're locked in and we both get something out of it.
Got it. So, you've also had, I know, professional athletes come through as well, and then you also played overseas yourself. Can you kind of talk about like those experiences? What is like for you as a player, at that level, and then what it's like bringing those players in as well?
Yeah, so I played a little bit professionally. It was just complicated for me. Like, so I ended up playing and going to the BBL, the British Basketball League, and it just like didn't work out. Like it just
Mhm.
out the team that I was trying to get on ended up folding. Um, they were trying to renegotiate contracts. Then I was over there, so I'm like trying out for different teams, and it was a new experience, and it was an experience where like I talked to so many successful overseas players, I never heard of this side of it, so it didn't sound right to me, right? So
Mhm.
my, one of my biggest messages when I first started was to tell people the other side. So we talk about meaning like you hear about LeBron James and Steph Curry, like, oh, he signed for 100 million, 200 million, whatever it may be. What about
Mhm.
the guy who's on minimum wage, which is still a lot of money? What about the guy that's making $1 million? What about the guy that's on a two-way? You know, what about the guy that's in the G League? Like that was my experience, you know, overseas. So I'm not over here flashing money. You know, I'm over here
Yeah.
fun. So I wanted to tell people about that side first. That was like one of my first messages, like, hey coach, am I good enough to go overseas? I think a lot of you guys are good enough to go overseas. One is like mentally, are you prepared for that? Like it's college times like 10, right?
Mhm.
And it's a situation on, do you have an agent or do you have somebody that can help you get over there? Because there's so many people don't understand there's so many leagues over there that you
Mhm.
can go there, but do you have somebody to help you get over there? If that makes sense. I have guys right now that actually just worked out that are trying to get overseas. Are they good enough to go over there? Yes, but it's about having the correct agent in the right area. And then, you know, I've had players contracts that are making $800 a month. You know, it's like, do you want to go with $800 a month? You know, and those are conversations that people aren't really saying out loud, talking about. But also knowing that 800 contract could turn to 3,000, and the next year the 3,000 can turn to eight, and you know you never know. So that experience, like with me growing up, that was my first message. And then to your second part of the question, I was extremely blessed. So like my best friend played for the Lakers. So my shooting guard in high school ended up playing for the Lakers. I don't know if people know.
Wow.
He went to Marquette, played with Jimmy Butler, hit one of the biggest shots in the Elite Eight, I believe. And so I was extremely blessed, meaning when I first started training, like I didn't really start here, humbly saying. Like I kind of started here because when my best friend plays for the Lakers and he brings a friend, it's not even Division I friend. It's like somebody from the Lakers or from the
Yeah.
so like, and then you can only imagine you put that in social media, and I'm like 25 years old, just starting. Like, okay, who's this guy? You know, so
Mhm.
but I was also smart enough to know, like, as well, like, hey, I'm here to listen. Like when they're talking, like I'm like, man, like I'm smart enough to know, like, I don't hardly have any answers right now. Like I'm ready to soak everything in, you know,
Mhm.
one of those situations as well. But because I had posted so much, like people are like, oh yeah, I've heard of that guy. So it was cool. Like Anthony Davis had messaged me a couple times, like hearing these big name NBA guys like DMing me, like, hey, this offseason I'm gonna lock in with you. And I'm like, wow, like that Instagram post where nobody wanted to work out with me, but now Anthony Davis wants to, like, it's pretty
That's
such real.
huge.
It's pretty.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. So now that you've expanded, I mean, and like you said, you've been able to start, really been blessed throughout the journey, but now that you've expanded to, it's like more than just you. You
Mm.
have support staff, you have other coaches, younger coaches that you're bringing in. What does that really mean to you? And when you look back on that journey, like what is that? How does that make you kind of feel?
Well, one, it makes me feel seasoned. You know, it makes me feel seasoned for sure. Like I'm not a young cat in the game anymore, but like now it's like it's like the next step. So it's like the new challenge. Like I have a huge facility, so there's no way that I'm going to be able to. Let's just be real, pay all the bills and do everything by myself. Like no great empire is built, single handedly. So me being able to pick out a staff, it was cool, good learning experience. But I have like a really good team. I honestly have really shout out as Jeffrey Big Slim, Aaron, Simeon when he was before he left. My manager Danielle, who handles all the small things that no one even can think about. But I have like a really really good staff that does a great job, and now I'm just like I take on the OG season role where all the questions that I asked, I want to kind of answer them before they even ask them. And
Mhm.
it's a good feeling, man. It's a really good feeling because like I had my coaches got invited to this big event, right? There's a big event that's supposed to happen in Charlotte, and they found out that I have my own gym. So like, hey, let's not do the event in Charlotte, let's do it at your gym. So I'm like, okay, cool. So now this is like free exposure to a certain extent to my gym, the marketing, putting new clients possibly in the gym. And then my training staff runs it. And I literally got this phone call last night. Like the coach talked for about 25 minutes about one of my coaches, just like how great he was. Like
Wow.
you would have thought he's like, man, I need to get him on my payroll. Like he was better than my staff. And, he was asking me different questions and I want everybody to understand this. Like as a trainer, right? This might sound corny, but trainers understand. If they don't, then they really need to understand like when we have a gym full of people to a certain extent, or we're doing an event, like that's my final four. You know,
Mhm.
that's what I'm getting hype about. Like those moments. Like, so I told my clients, like, hey, we got 45 kids in the gym. These kids are like hungry. Like this is easy. Like these kids want to get better. So like, but now who's gonna be the alpha male? Like who's gonna
Mhm.
something goes wrong? Like, are you looking left or are you asking the questions? Like, I need y'all to be that guy. Like, and I need the tone to be set. Like before somebody says something, bring it in, whatever it may be. And I might say everybody's name. Hey, this is, I'm not even giving people
Mhm.
a chance, but it's like, this is my moment. Like, this is what I'm doing this for. So like hearing that they did that, I'm like, all right, like I'm doing a really good job, And he was like,
Yeah.
guys gonna go far in life. And then it makes me look good. It makes the gym look good. And then I think that's just one of the biggest things that kind of can separate us from the other gyms or whatever the competitors are out there. And, so I just wanted to speak for itself.
Yeah. So you already touched on a lot of the stuff. I was gonna ask just if you have any advice for for young athletes specifically, or also people who want to find a new avenue within the game. You already gave a few good tips. Is there anything else specifically that you would give to these young people?
Yeah, like for sure. So for my athletes, including yourself, like I think right now it's all about prioritizing. Like it's all about how you prioritize. Like I think we understand what it takes to be good or maybe great. Like because with social media, we have so many different answers. Like okay, you have
Mhm.
tools, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it may be. But now it's like all this information. How are you going to prioritize it? So like
Mhm.
okay, I know I know I need to work on my ball handling. Well, can you wake up at 6 a.m. From 6:15 to 6:30? I'm not asking for much for ball handling. Hey,
Mhm.
after your last class or after every practice, can you put up the shooting gun for 25 minutes to shoot threes? Like I'm not asking for a lot. I'm just asking for you prioritizing. Like if people don't understand compound interest, like it's your work needs to be compound interest. It's just
Wow.
repeat over and over again. But the biggest message is prioritizing. Because like I said, we all can say the answer, but it's about doing it and doing it to make sense. And I think that message goes really, really far um, in life. And then I think another message is like stay hungry and stay curious. Like
Mm.
ask so many questions. Like my dad told me when I was younger, I used to ask so many questions. Hey, why is the sky blue? Hey, why you wear shoes? Or why do I have to wear shoes? Right? And my dad's friends were like, yo, tell him to be quiet. Like tell him to shut up. And my dad was like, nah, like I feel like I have to answer every question. And I told
Mhm.
my this about a year ago. I was like, man, I think it was huge that you allowed me to ask those questions, right? Because like now, like I'll be in class and I have people give me that look, back in the day, like, wow, that's a dumb question. Right. We've all heard there's no such thing as a dumb question, but some of us will believe, there is such thing. But like then you figure out the dumb kid asking all the questions, like he finally figured out the answer, you know? Not,
Mhm. Yeah.
not the small answer, like he figured out like the answer, right?
Yes.
Who invents jeans, and I'm the guy who invents the pocket in the jean. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah. Yes.
very, very important role in the gene. So it's like just making sure you're asking questions, and then you learn like to ask like the right questions. And then
Mhm.
it's wow, like I'm around these NBA players, like, how'd you get to the NBA? Like what'd you hey, how much do you really make? Like you
Mhm.
hey, don't ask me that question. Okay, cool. I know not to ask that question no more to these guys. Okay, then it's just like I even ask y'all like, how does NIL work? Do you actually make it out? Is it like do you have to? And because I want to know, like the game is changing, people are changing, and I literally don't know. I don't want to pretend I know the answers. So like, um, I think that's a very important answer. So just prioritizing workouts for players, and then like the business side and the human side, like ask all type of questions until you try to figure out what the right questions to ask, and then like whatever you want to do, I feel like you can have the tools to do it, because now you're asking these questions, you're not feeling embarrassed or you don't really care about what else is going on.
Yeah, I love that so much. A big thing as well, there's a lot of responsibility that comes with when it comes to getting better in basketball, your journey in basketball. I know like at a young age and at the collegiate level as well, but like even with you now having your own gym and having to run that business, there's a lot that comes with that. So how do you balance those responsibilities and family life?
Ooh, man, that's a great question. Like I think honestly, I think there is no answer to balance. Like there is no
Okay.
like it's always gonna do this, right? You're sometimes here, you might get here, but I
Mhm.
think the true answer, at least for myself, is like what I'm still learning though, is be present. Like really be present. Like if I'm training, I try really hard to train. Like I'm locked in on y'all, pushing you, whatever it may be. Then when like I'm at home, if I can, I'm still working on it. Put my phone down and like play Barbies with my son, play a little basketball, play blanket monster, whatever it may be, with my kids. Like, I really need to do that. Or if it's, hey, it's only 10 minutes a day, well, boy, it better be, the best 10 minutes of your life. And then go like with my wife when it's time to be like a husband, or when it's time to have me and my wife time, like, okay, like, remember what she likes, do the sweet things. My wife is big on simplicity. So, like, put your plate up, push your chair in, take that's like, if you can at least do that, because we have a very understanding relationship, that she knows, like, when I got this, she was like, this is your new baby. She was like, I know, like, when you say you're coming home at 8, it's probably not gonna be 9:30. If you say 9:30, it's gonna be this. And but she does a great job as well, saying like, hey, dinner's in the, she's the goat. Like, dinner's in the microwave, 1 minute, warming up, we've all bathed, showered. Hey, just kiss the kids, and you can study your film or whatever you got to do, but we'll all be upstairs. So it's like, man. And then when that's taken away, me and my wife might argue, give you that side. It's like, you got to realize that, man, I got it made. Let me make sure I'm doing what I need to do, because you can't do it alone. I can't raise my kids alone. I don't want to be, shout out to the single parents. I think that's extremely tough, and I would not want that. So let me do what I need to do. My wife does what she needs to do, play our roles. And, so I think that's a very important message on the whole life balance with everything. Just be present, live in the moment, and try to enjoy as much as you can.
Wow, that's good. That's really good. The so you talked about, okay, separation team, that is your baby now. So what does it mean to you now? If you could put that into words, and like, how has that developed over time?
I just think, like, one of our mottos is like, separate to elevate, and I think that's still just like my elevation might be different. Like, everybody else's might be different, but like, I still have to. We still in life have to, like, take that moment to separate from everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
What do I need? Like, if I want to inspire somebody, I think I need to be able to, like, inspire myself before I inspire somebody else. Like, with mental health, with everything going on, like, I think I need to be good mentally, or as good as I can be mentally, before I'm like spreading these messages. That's just, once again, this is just my belief.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I think really, like, separating yourself from the pack in order for me to go up, that has to be the first step. And then, like, our other motto is like, just obsessed with better. Like, still just have, like, the obsessive trait, just to be better. Like, there's always room to achieve. And person that comes to mind is just like Kobe Bryant. Like, I truly believe, rest in peace, Kobe. Like, when he retired, I don't think he missed the game, because I truly think he literally gave it all he could. And I think
Yeah.
where he could barely move up and down the court. So I think when you give something your all, I think you don't really miss it. Like, I'm no Kobe Bryant at all. I don't have itches anymore. I used to have itches, like, playing the game of basketball, but like, knowing in those important stages, like 10 to 18, 10 to 19 for me, like, I was a worker. I don't really remember too many kids like you. Like, you're a worker. I don't really remember too many kids working harder than me. So, like, when
Mm-hmm.
something didn't work out, don't get me wrong, I'm sure I was frustrated and said a lot of stuff I wasn't supposed to say. But then, as a seasoned guy, it's like, just didn't work out. I can't really say I didn't work hard. Just it wasn't in my cards. And then, being more seasoned, like, I get it now. Like, I worked
Yeah.
hard enough to, like, when Raven asked me to do a move, I do the move. Hopefully, I look decent doing the move, where I can teach it, and then she can, like, okay, he looks good doing it, and he's teaching it. I believe it. That might not be
Yeah.
my motto, but at one point that was like my true motto. I'm a pretty good teacher, and I can do a good job demonstrating. Hopefully, both those ways can convince you to believe this works, or whatever it may be. So,
Mhm.
yeah, that's what, like, the company means to me for the most part. Just separate to elevate, and just obsess with better.
Yeah, I think that's something that I definitely needed to hear, as like, I know I still have that this last season to come, but
Hmm.
that's constantly something that's on my mind, transitioning out of basketball. Like, I know walking away from it, if I'm not able to play overseas, is this something that I really feel like I gave my all? Is this something I'm going to miss? What is it going to look like? So I think that definitely helped, and a lot of people needed to hear that as well.
That's
Um,
I think about you a lot. I think about you a lot on that aspect. Like,
yeah.
just knowing, like, knowing you but not knowing you, hearing about you, in the city, like, how hard you work, like, just hearing all the whispers when people would talk about you, just knowing that you worked extremely hard. So when things weren't going your way, I would check in on you here or there. Like, I hated it for you, don't get me wrong, but, like, and not to sound cliche, I was like, I know she has a bigger purpose. And then I was like, see you on your Instagram when you were, like, doing different things in LA. I'm like, I always think females are a little bit smarter than guys when it comes to, like, basketball because they're not I don't see you at 40 years old saying, "Hey, Mark, I'm still trying to chase basketball." Like some of these guys out here, like, what, hey, you know what didn't work out for me, and I'm onto something. Now I'm sure that saying it was a lot easier than being by yourself and having that,
Yes.
but and then you just see where you are. Like I'm like, okay, she's branching out, whether she wants to or not. Like, it seems like you're enjoying it, having a good time, and it's like basketball. To me, basketball is just like we just use basketball, like use it, like you know what I mean. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna love you as much as you put into it. So if you put a lot into it, like before you know it, you're doing different podcasts, you're interviewing different people. You're analyzing games, whatever you want to be, but it's because of the game of basketball. You know what your
Right.
work ethic is. Like I can usually see successful people in the game when I'm training people. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
she's pretty good. I don't think basketball is going to work out for her, but that's okay. I might not say it depending on her age or his age.
Yeah.
I might
Yeah.
not. Right? I'm like, this dude works out at 6 a.m. and he's coming to me at 9 a.m. If he gets hurt, I think he'll be okay because somebody's gonna hopefully sit down and like, look how successful you've been just from hard work. So find something else you love and work hard, and sky can be the limit. Like my goal was to never have my own gym until like later on. When I first started, I wanted to be in the gym all day and train a couple kids. Not
Mm-hmm.
like I want to be in the gym. I want to be in my own gym all day. Then it's I want to have other trainers to be in the gym all day, and I want to be in the gym 3 or 4 hours. And to be
Mm-hmm.
like the dream is constantly changing, it's constantly leveling up, but it's for me right now, it's still around basketball. Like I'm able to use it. So
Yeah.
but so I think that's really important that like what your work ethic and kids' work ethic that I can usually see they're going to be successful, just how hard they work and their focus.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. People definitely need to hear it as well. So thank you for saying that.
For sure.
Yeah. So my last question, I think we touched everything that I wanted to touch. Is there anything that I didn't ask that you wanted to share that you wanted to touch on or that I should have asked?
Anything um that you didn't ask? Um yeah, I'll say a couple things real quick. So,
Mhm.
I've been training for like 12 years. So, I've been training for about 12 years. I've been training full time about 8 to 9 years, meaning, no other job. This is like my only source of income. Um, and I think the biggest separator in life is just going to be consistency.
Mm.
Right. I've seen that from everything. It's when I first started training, me and this other trainer trained at the same gym. Let's say I had 5 kids, he had 5 kids, and this one trainer wasn't consistent. Sometimes he couldn't show up. He had an excuse, whether it was the truth or not. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Now 2 of those kids are at the gym, and I'm at the gym waiting. Hey, can we jump in with you? Sure. You happen to like it. Now those 2 kids are my kids. It's
Mm-hmm.
So now I have 10 kids. The other guys got no kids. Now he's worried about this and that. I don't see him at the gym anymore. And it was, am I better than him? That's not for me to determine, but I think it was me consistently showing up every single day. And I
Wow.
think, I think that just is a huge message that people need to understand. Like you never know when your time is, whatever you're chasing, whatever you're trying to get, but you have to like show up. Not
Mm-hmm.
have to because you get to. Like we've all been hurt before. So sometimes we want to show up. It's like you can't. You sprained your ankle last week. You have to be on the bench and cheer for your team. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm the guy on the court. Like I don't have to. Like I get to. Like my ankle's fine. His ankle's not. Like I get to play defense. I get to do whatever. So it's like just kind of
Wow.
those messages are very important on days, as you can imagine, when I'm super tired on the court, where it's like, hey man, somebody's begging to train Raven, and she's over here texting you, like it's an hour and 15 minutes. Let's give it all you got, and then you can be lazy and tell your excuses later on.
Wow.
I think that's huge.
Yes. Thank you. That's another good thing. You're speaking. Thank you. Okay. Last question. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
No, that's it. That's it.
Okay. This is a very important question I have to finish off.
All right.
So, your cornrow days back in Wakefield. Yeah, they were tight, saw the designs and everything. Now, exactly did you grow out of that? And did you see a change in your basketball game? Is that the turning point of your career when you outgrew the cornrows? The world needs to know.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I had the cornrows. I had the if you remember, I had the long. My jumps were about all the way
They
down.
was long. They
I,
was long. Yeah.
I was official. I was official with it. Uh,
Yeah.
First, my mom. All right, so short story. My mom cut my hair really. I wanted to trim, and
Uh-huh.
all right, so the front of my hair goes down to here. The back of my hair goes like down to here. But my
Okay.
mom trimmed my front like here, but then she accidentally trimmed my back or whatever. So long story short, my front of my hair was like this long, and the back of my hair was here. So then
Ooh.
I got braids. Like my hang time was small, and back in
Mhm.
I don't know if it still is now. Like the hang time was super important. Like you were official if your hang time was like flopping or whatever. Like
Mm.
that got to me because I'm like, yo, I'm an OG. Like my joint's real. I got good hair. So that hurt my pride a little bit. And then I had to end up cutting my hair. One, I did mature. I was going to college, so I cut my hair. I was like, I'm going to college, time to man up. The braids are getting old. Did my game change? Like, yes or no? My swagger, it was just a different swag. Like I thought I was like the most handsome, the cutest guy. When I had the long hair, north side, south side, west side, Raleigh, I thought I could get any girl I want. When I had the hair, when I had the fresh braids, I could walk into your neighborhood at school and I could get anybody.
If she looked, she took.
You know what I mean? That's how I felt. When I cut my braids, more like, it was more like you might have to come to me. You know what I'm like? Hey, I understand how I gotta but my game didn't change. My game was a little more seasoned. So
Mhm.
just different games. Braids may have been flashy. Cut hair was like grown and sexy. I'm kind of to the point. I like what I like. I don't like what I don't like. I'm not here to waste anybody's time. Let's get buckets, or let me take you to Red Lobster.
Love to see it. Love to see it.
That's what it was like. So that was a really good question.
Yeah. Just had the world need to know. The world need to know. But that is all. That's all I have for today. Again, thank you so much for your time and just for all of the words. I know that a lot of people, like I said, a lot of people definitely need to hear. I know that I did. So I hope it reaches other young athletes and entrepreneurs as well.
I appreciate it, Raven. Appreciate your time and good luck this year. We're going to be up there to come support at least one or two games. Only about an hour and a half away, so we'll be up there for sure. So good luck, everything on and off the court you do. I'm the biggest low key fan of yours, so keep doing you. I'm proud.
Thank you. Thank you.
'Cause I don't want